Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, August 13th, and in front of me you will see the 6 fig trees that I planted in ground back on March 29th. And for your reference, I will be sure to link to that video above, but these 6 fig trees are the first figs that I put in ground in my backyard, and right in front of me I have my Smith fig tree, and I'm very happy to report that my Smith fig tree is starting to ripen a number of its figs. And tonight I'm going to attempt a taste test on these figs. Now, unfortunately, we've had a very wet day. We've gotten a little bit over an inch of rain from some intermittent heavy thunderstorms, and usually when it rains on the figs it does some bad things to them. So I expect the flavor to be a little bit diluted, but nonetheless I still want to take this time to do this taste test because you never know what the future holds, and I want to make sure that I get in all the taste tests that I can. And here you can clearly see I have a number of Smith figs that are starting to ripen, and I especially have a few that are darkening here that I have in these organza bags. And if you've seen my videos in the past, I have these organza bags on them to protect them against flying insects. That's a very effective method, and you'll see I also have tape around the trunk to protect them from crawling ants. So between the two, I've been able to keep my figs relatively pest-free. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove these bags and uncover the figs. So in my quest to remove the bags, I have knocked one of them off in the process, which is a good sign because that probably means they're very ripe. So I'm going to take these 3 Smith figs off right here for my taste test. And here you can see my 3 Smith figs. They are not pretty looking figs by any means. The Smith is pretty ugly, at least here in the humid southeast. It kind of takes on this really rough brown color. You'll also see that due to the rains I have some bursting, which is not a good thing. However, one thing that I am disappointed with, just a couple of days ago I was starting to get pools of honey at the eye inside of these figs, but unfortunately the rain has washed the fig honey away. So these are normally a fairly syrupy fig. Hopefully the rain hasn't ruined the quality. In fact, in here you might be able to just barely make out a little bit of the honey. Now, last year I performed a taste test on my Smith fig, but that was a first year from cutting grown tree that was only a couple of months old, and I can already tell since planting it in ground these figs are much larger than they were as a first year cutting grown in containers. This looks like a solid 40-gram fig, which I'm very happy about, and this one also feels the ripest of the lot. So that right there, that weighs in at 46 grams, which is nice for a Smith. I want to say I was probably only around in the 20 to 30 gram range last year. That one's 31, and this is more consistent with the size that I'm used to from last year. And here is another nice one weighing in at 40 grams. So despite my initial impressions that the Smith was a fairly small fig, it looks like that it's actually more like a medium-sized fig, which is really great news. Now again, full disclosure, I don't think this is going to be the greatest taste test, so we will have to put a few caveats in the description that this will be more like taste test after a thunderstorm to show how these hold up to humidity. And this one looks clearly like the least ripe of the lot. And despite being the least ripe of the lot, from what I can tell, that still looks pretty good. This one feels by far the most ripe. And you can see that it didn't fully form up top here. This is actually probably the first fig that the tree tried to ripen of the year. And then we have this one here, which is somewhere in the middle. So that is definitely not what the figs are supposed to look like. They should look a little bit more formed than this, but again, this is an early waterlogged taste test. Most of us fig growers in the United States are located in the Northeast and Southeast, and we have very wet, humid summers, and that is really bad for fig development because figs are native from Mediterranean climates where it basically doesn't rain from June 1st to September 1st at all. So they don't do well ripening in humidity and rains. So if this fig tastes good like this, if it held up in my rainy thunderstorm, then That's really saying something because it'll be a lot better if it ripens in dry conditions. So we'll start off with this fig right here and give it a taste test. And it is good. The flavor is definitely a little diluted. You can tell that it's a victim of the rain because it has that flavor that I'm used to with a Smith, but it's almost like you washed it down with a glass of water. It has a very light strawberry flavor. The Smith that I ripened last year in dry conditions tasted like strawberry pancake syrup, and it was really pooling honey in there, and it was just outstanding. Because of all the water, I did not get that effect. However, I want to try the more ripe one to see how that compares. Oh, that is so much better. This fig right here is fantastic. This tastes like a strawberry, but sweeter, with an even better texture. Whereas a strawberry, you know, it kind of has a very fibrous and seedy texture. That does not exist in this fig. This tastes like strawberry jam, and even with the fact that you can tell it's waterlogged, it is still delicious. The top here, you can see, because it's such a young fig and it ripened in bad conditions, the inflorescences, which are the inverted flowers inside the fig, they did not color correctly. They did not build sugars, which is why you see them as white up here. If this would have ripened properly, the whole center would be red. But I need to give this another shot. Tastes just like strawberry jam, and I can't wait to get a riper one that ripens in dry conditions. But we're going to give this one a shot too. This one looks by far the least ripe. And when you pick this underripe, it has more of a melony taste to it. The texture is a lot chewier, and yeah, it just has like a melony flavor, and that strawberry flavor has not yet developed. So make sure that you pick your Smith figs as ripe as possible. But one thing that I am happy to report is, despite the fact that it ripened in really crushing humidity and rains, and the end bursted a little on one of them, there's no hint of souring. So it held up really well. I just wish this would have ripened about a day or two earlier, or it really would have been something very special. But again, that's just my opinion, and the ultimate decision comes down to my buddy Dale here. And he's once again been a very good boy like always, just carefully observing and waiting his turn. Okay, buddy, can you give me a shake? Shake for the fig? What do you think of that one, buddy? That is the less ripe one. Was that one okay? You're eyeing up this other one in my hand. Okay, we're going to give you this one. Can you go down? All the way down. Very good. Oh, you're going to jump, aren't you? Oh, what do you think, buddy? How was that? Oh, nothing left. Dale definitely approves, but he's never met a fig he doesn't like. And there you have it, everybody. The cutting board is clean. We have a little buddy right here that is looking for more figs, and he's very sad to see that there's not any left. So all things considered, despite the fact that this fig ripened in terrible conditions, it was still really good. It's very important that you let your Smith figs ripen as much as possible. They should be extremely soft, like a bag of jelly when you pick them. If they are still too firm, the sugars have not developed, so don't be afraid to really let them hang. They're going to look pretty ugly when they get to the perfect ripeness, but that's okay. It's not about how it looks, it's about how it tastes. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about anything that I use in my garden, everything that I use is linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. If you begin your shopping with one of our links, even if you don't decide to buy the products in the store, we still get a little piece of the pie, so it helps me and Dale keep making these videos. I appreciate you all for watching, and I hope to see you all again on the next video.